The Lady Behind Me by A.P. Herbert. Dear Madam, you have seen this play. I never saw it till today. You know the details of the plot, but let me tell you, I do not. The author seeks to keep from me the murderer's identity, and you are not a friend of his if you keep shouting who it is. The actors, in their funny way, have several funny things to say, but they do not amuse me more if you have said them just before. The merit of the drama lies, I understand, in some surprise, but the surprise must now be small, since you have just foretold it all. The lady you have brought with you is, I infer, a half-wit too, but I can understand the piece without assistance from your niece. In short, foul woman, it would suit me just as well if you were mute. In fact, to make my meaning plain, I trust you will not speak again. And, may I add, one human touch. Don't breathe upon my neck so much.
Good morning, students. How are you? I hope you enjoyed listening to the poetry which was narrated by Tom O'Bedlam. Now, let us continue with the poem At the Theatre, which is also called as To the Lady Behind Me, written by A.P. Herbert. So, the full form of A.P. Herbert is Sir Alan Patrick Herbert. He was an English poet and he also changed the law about the divorce in England. Before we begin the poem, think about an experience of yours when you had gone to watch a movie or you are watching a TV show and your friend keeps telling you the story. Will you enjoy watching a movie with such a friend? I'm sure you will tell your friend to stop talking or you will tell the friend to leave the theater, right? So, similar experience is shared by the poet, and the poet has gone to watch a play. Play, as in a drama in which we have a live performance. Do you remember the play which was enacted by our friends during the annual day? I think it was called as Laddu, in which the the child asks a lot of questions regarding religion. I think the story talks about that the child's grandfather has died, and the mother tells him, "Give this money and this prasad to the pandit in the mandir." But he meets a mullah of a masjid, and it's like a dialogue regarding how we see religion in our country. That's a play because you were able to see the performance going on in front of you. Actors were in front of you, right? It was not shown on a screen. Such enactments are called as plays. So similarly, the poet Sir Herbert, he goes to watch a play, and what is happening is there is a woman who is sitting behind him, and she keeps on telling the story, and of course he gets annoyed, and this poem is written in a response to that. So let us now go through the details of the poem. Firstly, please notice that the second line has I ever saw it till today. There is a typing mistake. It should be I never saw it till today. So please change this ever to never. Please change this ever to never because that's the correct word here. It's I never saw it till today. So instead of ever, please make it as never. Dear madam, you have seen this play. I never saw it till today. You know the details of the plot, but let me tell you, I do not. So when the poet begins to talk to the woman, he talks very respectfully. Dear madam, you have seen this play. I never saw it till today. So he is saying that you have seen the play because you know the dialogues of the play, but for me it's a new play. I am watching it for the first time. You know the details of the plot. So whatever is the story, whatever is going to happen later, you know all about it. But I don't. Why does he say that? Because he has never seen the play before. He does not know the story of the play. The author seeks to keep from me the murderer's identity, and you are not a friend of his if you keep shouting who it is. Now, the author means which author? Are we talking about Sir A.P. Herbert? Think about it. Who can be the author over here? If you guessed that the author is the author of the play, then you are correct. The poet is telling the woman that the author wants to hide the identity of the murderer. So, this line, the murderer's identity, this line over here, by this line we can say that the story has a murder scene inside it, right? And the author does not want to tell me who is the murderer, but if you keep talking about the murderer, then you are not his friend, you are like an enemy because you are spoiling the surprise for me. So this is what the poet is telling the woman. Then he goes on to say that the actors in their funny way have several funny things to say, but they do not amuse me more if you have said them just before. So now what is happening? He is saying that the actors are acting very funnily. So see, when you have this line, the actors in their funny way have several funny things to say, this means that the play has a murder inside it. But it's not a very serious play, it's a comedy play. And the actors are making it funny by their acting, but I am not enjoying it. I am not able to laugh because you have already told me the things. So the lady behind is talking about the story, right? And when she is talking about the story, the poet is listening to it and all the surprise is being spoiled. So he is saying that whatever they are talking about in the play, I am not able to enjoy. Think about it. Suppose I am telling you a joke which you already know. Will you laugh at it? You will probably say, मैंने पहले से सुना था ये. You will not laugh at it because you are familiar with the joke. Similarly, when the woman behind is telling the story, the poet feels that I am not able to enjoy the acting. I am not able to enjoy their comedy because I already know what is going to happen. The merit of the drama lies, I understand, in some surprise. But the surprise now must be small since you have just foretold it all. In the last line, between foretold and all, there will be it it. Please add it it between foretold and all. So what is happening is, he is saying to the woman now that the whole point of watching a drama is because it has some surprise in it. But now because you have just told me the story, the surprise has been reduced. So imagine that the drama has 10 different surprises where the audience would feel, oh, this happened, I was not expecting this. But because the woman is telling the story, the poet already knows the surprise. So do you think he is going to enjoy it as much? He won't. So he is saying that the surprise is now small because you have just told me beforehand. Foretold is the past tense of foretell. Foretell means to tell something in advance. So because she has already told about the play, the poet is not able to enjoy it. And he is saying that the surprise now is very small for me. The lady you have brought with you is, I infer, a half-wit too. But I can understand the piece without assistance from your niece. In the third line in this stanza, but I can understand the piece. Please add the word I between but and can. But I can understand the piece without assistance from your niece. So he is saying that you have brought another woman with you, and I think she is also stupid. Half-wit means stupid, and by infer it means that poet is listening to their talks, what they are talking about, and saying that even she is stupid. Inferring is you come to a conclusion based on certain facts. So for example, suppose I get less marks in maths and my teacher finds out that I am doing mistakes in subtraction, then he can infer that I am weak in subtraction. So for inferring something, you need to look at some data in front of you. Based on that, you form some conclusion. That is called as inference. That is called as inferring. So he is listening to the dialogue between the lady and her niece, and he is saying that I think she is also stupid like you. And when he's saying a half wit too, it means that half wit also. So he already has decided that the lady behind him is stupid and her niece also is stupid now. But then he is saying, but I can understand the piece without assistance from your niece. So whatever is happening in the drama, I know their language, I am able to understand it. I do not need any help from your niece. How do you think the poet knows that the lady with the woman is her niece? Can you think about why? I will ask you in the evening. And now he is very annoyed. So he is saying now, in short, foul woman, it would suit me just as well if you were mute. In fact, to make my meaning plain, I trust you will not speak again. So now he is calling her a foul woman. Why do you think he is calling her a foul woman? What does the word foul mean? Here foul means someone who is very impolite, someone who is very rude. And you have learnt in the previous class that talking while watching a movie and disturbing others are bad manners. So he is calling her rude and impolite for talking during the play and asking her to please remain quiet. He is saying, it would suit me. It would be better for me if you were mute. So he is saying that can you please not talk? Can you please become mute? So sometimes when there are annoying advertisements coming on TV, you mute the TV, right? Similarly, he wants the woman to just stop talking, to become mute. And he wants to emphasize it, so he says, in fact, to make my meaning plain, I trust you will not speak again. So he wants to be very clear that the woman should not speak again. He wants her to remain absolutely quiet. And may I add one human touch? Don't breathe upon my neck so much. It is also possible that the woman who is sitting behind him is so close to him that he can feel her breath on his neck. Sometimes when someone is very close to you and speaking, you can feel their breath on your neck. So he wants her to keep a distance. And the other meaning of don't breathe upon my neck so much is to irritate me so much. So he's saying, I request you, I'm adding a human touch, please do not irritate me this much. He's telling her, please stay at a distance and don't irritate me. So he probably is asking her to sit somewhere else. So can you see, students, how annoyed, how angry he is at the woman, that he is writing a whole poem to tell her to shh, remain quiet. What you are going to do as a homework, first of all, you will be reading the poem on your own. Write down all the words which are new for you. Write the word and their meanings. You use the dictionary. You have to solve all the activities from 5 to 9 and write them in your book. I will be asking you questions based on the poem and you have to answer in the evening. And I will also ask you how did you come to that answer. I hope you have understood the whole poem clearly. If you have doubts, you can ask me in the evening. Bye.